All right, hey guys, I'm back. So I didn't quite have enough time. I needed about 30 more seconds, maybe a minute, to finish up this last example. So we had this 1 over the x plus 1 quantity squared. That's multiplied by maybe by this negative sign and this 3, trying to take care of all the algebra stuff out front. So let's do that right now. We'll go negative 3 over the x plus 1 quantity squared. And then we'll multiply that by the cosine squared, because remember you can bring that back in here to use that fancier notation. A little more compact. And then, no, take that back. There's not a minus there. Oopsie. No idea what's happening right now. So pardon me for just a second. Okay. Computer's freaking out. All right. So back to it. We're here, and I need to put my sine of x over x plus 1. That's looking good right there. All right, so that right there is our final answer. That's looking pretty good. How about we use this guy to color that in? There we go. Beautiful. All right, so there are some other ways to write this. You could put the x plus 1 squared on the bottom and the negative 3's on top with all this stuff, but that's pretty ugly looking if you do that because you have fractions within fractions. So we're going to avoid that. All right, let's go ahead and draw a little line here. It is time for a new little title. We're just going to go call this next little set here more trig derivative practice. So you can continue on that page if you'd like. Just give it a new title like so. That's fine. But here we go. And what we're doing, I've actually got a whole bunch of questions from the book that I've just picked. We already did number 2 and number 4. So this is from the book. I'm even going to just write that there. And it's number 2. This is 2.5. Number 2. Take that back. We don't need number 2. We need number 6. Pardon me. All right, so here goes. F of x equals sine of x over x squared plus sine of x. So we clearly have a quotient. We're going to have to do some quotient rule here. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to go fairly quickly because we know all the rules at this point. It's just a matter of getting some practice in. So we're going to start with a g and then an f prime. So g is on the bottom. We just copy it down. Multiply that by f prime, the derivative of the top, which is cosine of x, minus, and then we'll go the top, or f, times the derivative of g. Derivative of g, we got a 2x plus a cosine x. Okay, so there's your gf prime minus fg prime, and of course we'll put that all over g squared. All right, so there's the setup. Now we just need to kind of multiply through a little bit, see what's going on up on top. A lot going on up here. So we got, let's see, an x squared cosine x plus sine x cosine x minus 2x sine x, and then a minus sine x cosine x. And I don't know if you see it, but something sweet just happened. So if you could let me know on the count of 3, say, on the count of 3, if you see it, say, I see it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, me too. I see it. Sine x cosine x minus sine x cosine x. That is sweet. Sometimes that happens. It just kind of fell into our lap. All right, so that's nice. So what's left behind? Well, you've got this stuff and this stuff. You could factor something out. You could factor out an x. Oh, I almost forgot my square down there. Factor out the x, and we'll leave an x cosine x. And then, let's see, minus 2 sine x. And we are almost done. There's not much to do to clean this up. I'm looking at it going, is there any way to factor something out? This is actually a pretty decent answer right there. We could have left it with the x squared cosine x minus 2x sine of x. It's not like it's, way worse or something. So I would say either one of these, full credit. Love it, love it. So it's a tie. All right. All right. I think we're done with that one. Yeah, that's it. Number 6. Done. In the books. Next up, number 8. It really is just another just another function. Here we go. This one has got some, well, you tell me. What's built into it? What rule do we need for sure right now on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, product rule. That's an F times a G. You get some algebra first, then you got some trig next. So here goes. Let's just jump right in. And of course, the directions were just find f prime of x. All right, so here goes G. Then we need an f prime. That'll be a simple little 2x. Love it. Super simple. Love the algebra. Plus, now we need an f and a g prime. And then the derivative of secant of x is, of course, secant of x, tangent of x. It's one of our repeaters. From there, there's not too much that you can do. I mean, we can get rid of the parentheses, so let's maybe do that. I'll put the algebra in front in each case. Let's see here, maybe just we could distribute and go x squared secant x tan x plus just 1 times secant x tan x. So yeah, that's an okay answer. I mean, at each stage, it's like, well, can we find something else that would clean it up and make it better, simpler? I'm not seeing a lot. I do see something that they all have in common, so we should probably go ahead and try to factor that out. If you see it, that's awesome. If you seek it, that'd be even more awesomer. All right, sorry, that was lame. Can I get an it's cool, please? Thank you. There's a secant x in this pile, and this pile. So we're going to go ahead and factor that out, and that'll leave a 2x plus x squared tangent of x plus tangent of x. Another great form of our answer. We can just leave it like that. That's looking pretty good. All right, I think that's it for number 8. Good enough. Next up, number 10. And again, feel free to ask to pause this anytime if you need to. Pause it anytime and go through it a little more carefully if you need to. Next one, f of x equals cosine of x minus x cosecant of x. So let's see here. We got some trig and we got some product rule and some basic subtraction. And the subtraction is not that big a deal. We just deal with this term by itself and this term by itself. So we should be fine. Let's just jump right in. I will say we do have, let me use a little highlighter here. This is really in parentheses or brackets over here. And what you have there, let me get a little different color here, maybe some red. You have an x times a cosecant of x. So there's a product rule over there. Now we could have had that negative as part of the x. I prefer to actually just deal with the x and the cosecant x. I think it's easier for your derivative process. Just make sure that you're subtracting that big product rule at the end. All right, let's use some blue. Why not? Derivative of cosine is negative sine of x minus brackets. Time for the quotient rule on this. Excuse me, not quotient rule. Product rule. Can I get an it's cool again? Thank you. All right, here we go. Cosecant of x goes first. That's your g. Now we need your f prime, which is just 1, plus f times g prime, which is negative repeater. So it's the negative cosecant x, and then you get your cotangent x after that. Close up the brackets, and technically you're done taking a derivative. It's just cleanup time. So let's see what we can find out from this. So negative sine of x, and then we got a minus. We're just distributing that negative. The 1 doesn't do anything, so just ignore that. We've got a minus cosecant of x. And then over here, it's a minus times a minus, so that'll be a plus x cosecant x cotangent x. And that's it, y'all. That's perfect. I don't have anything that all 3 terms have. I mean, over here you have 2 terms that have a cosecant, but that doesn't make it that much nicer. So let's leave it as is. Numero 12 coming up. All right, 12. Let's switch back to the black pen here. Number 12. Slide this up a little bit. Cruising right along. So let's see here. Probably squeeze one more in here, and then we'll do possibly another video. I got to see how many more examples we got. So same directions, go find f prime of x for us. So clearly it's a product rule. We got an f and a g. So here goes. So we're going to go g first times the derivative of f, which is a negative cosecant x cotangent x. And again, I'm relying on you guys knowing those rules already, right? G goes in, and then f prime. That should be an easy no-brainer at this point, okay? Plus, we're going to go f times g prime. And g prime is the derivative of this guy, which would be a negative cosecant squared x. Oops. There we go. And then we'll just go ahead and multiply that out. So I'm going to put the negative cosecant x cotangent squared x minus cosecant cubed x. That's a pretty good answer right there. But I'm thinking maybe you see what I see. Do you see what I see? Here we go. I see a cosecant squared. No, I see a cosecant, not a cosecant squared. I can pull out a cosecant. I could also pull out a negative cosecant. I'm a fan of pulling that negative out, and that makes the insides a little bit nicer. There we go. That's looking pretty good. You can double check that. So distribute this times this is that, and this times this should be that. So we got two great answers. There is something else we can do here. I don't know if you're seeing it, but let's go over here and let's talk about how we know that 1 plus cotangent squared of x is equal to cosecant squared of x. So let's see. We could rewrite this as a cotangent squared x equals cosecant squared x minus 1. So I'm seeing a substitute here for our cotangent squared that's sitting in here. So let's do that. Let's leave the negative cosecant of x, and then I'm going to leave the plus cosecant squared of x over there. But my substitute, this stuff, gets to go right there where the cotangent squared was. So we'll go cosecant squared x minus 1. All right, so now we can clean that up a tiny bit. Negative cosecant of x. Now you've got two of those cosecant squared. Oopsie. Let me go back a little bit. So that's two cosecant squared x's, so 1 here plus 1 more there, and then of course there's a minus 1 in there. So that's looking pretty good. I like it. Now, if we didn't have the 2 here, we could factor that guy and call it cosecant x plus 1. Again, pretend like you don't have this. That'd be cosecant x plus 1 times cosecant x minus 1. But we do have that, so we don't get to do that right now. Let me just put that 2 back in, and we are done. All right, reaching the limit here. So there it is, zooming out, zooming in. Go ahead and maybe pause it if you need to finish copying that last one down. Are there other ways to write this? Yes, for sure. We could change the cosecant squared right there to a 1 plus cotangent squared, and you get it back into the other form. We could try to go to sines and cosines. I don't think that's going to help much. So, all right, we'll just stop it right there. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.